Spain, Spain, Spain. A goalless draw versus Sweden in your opening game of the tournament. Is that how you're really going to get things started? I'm starting to think that Luis Enrique, the manager, is just digging himself a deeper and deeper hole that he might not be able to get out of. I've disagreed with the Spanish manager on so many levels for this tournament. I disagreed with many of his squad selection picks, and I definitely disagree with the way that Enrique sets up the Spanish team against Sweden. I'm starting to get worried that Spain get knocked out of Euro 2021 early, to be honest with you, because looking at that Spanish team versus Sweden, they absolutely dominated the game in terms of possession, in terms of passing. But that means absolutely nothing if you don't actually win, and I don't think Enrique put his best team forward. First of all, why do all these managers think that Morata is a capable striker up front? 11 goals in Serie A this season. He's not an awful striker, but when you have the likes of Gerard Moreno, a player who won the Europa League this season, a player who got 23 goals in La Liga this season, why would you not play him up front? I thought on the attacking front, although far less chances, I actually think Sweden looked better. To be honest with you, I think that Alexander Isak kid is looking brilliant. 21 years old, 17 goals in Real Sociedad this season. He's looking like a brilliant strike option. I mean, his bag of tricks and ability versus Spain, it was quite scary. And I'll say this, I'll put this forward. I think Spain were lucky not to lose to Sweden. I think Sweden looked far better on the attacking front, but I do have to say well done to Marcus Llorente for that goal line clearance. I think defensively, Spain were solid, but on the attacking front, that is where they were let down hugely. Now, do I think Luis Enrique is the right man for the Spanish national team? I think that's a tricky question. I think he's a brilliant manager and he's achieved great things throughout his career, both as a player and as a manager. But I just have way too many questions to ask about him as a manager. First of all, obviously, when the whole team had to be isolated, 6 more players could have potentially been picked for the squad and still no Real Madrid players. Look, I'm no Real Madrid fan. In terms of La Liga, I'm actually a Barcelona fan, but looking at the fact that the team has no Real Madrid players, I still don't understand, no matter who you are or who you think is a good player, to not have Sergio Ramos in the Spanish national team. To me, that is an absolute crime. No, not necessarily because of his ability. Yes, I know Laporte is now in defense for the Spanish team, but you need that leadership. You need that player who's going to get down and gritty and dirty with it. Sergio Ramos does what it takes to win the games. He's got that leadership. He pushes other players, and I'm not sure the Spanish team now has that in the team without Ramos. It's not all about playing ability. But saying that, on the other hand, on the other side of the spectrum, I think Spain are also very lucky that Laporte obviously swapped his international allegiances. I think Laporte looked really solid for the Spanish team, but as a whole, bar defensive ability, there were just too many things wrong with the Spanish team in my opinion. As I said, on the attacking front, they just weren't good. Dying minutes of the game, Spain needed a goal, and you're going to take off the likes of Dani Olmo up front? I just don't understand that. Dani Olmo had the best chances out of anyone in that team during the game. He is looking so solid. Normally, obviously, plays as an attacking midfielder, plays more of a winger for the Spanish national team. He looked brilliant. I just don't understand Luis Enrique's thinking with this team. I don't think he set it up right, and I think Spain, they've now got a lot of pressure on them. I would say out of all the top teams at the Euros, they've definitely got one of the easier groups in terms of being a top team, because obviously they've got the likes of Poland and Slovakia left. But looking at the Poland versus Slovakia game, I think Slovakia looked really dangerous on the attacking front, no matter how much possession they had, and they could actually give Spain a run for their money. Defensively, I think Poland had its moments from time to time, but at the end of the day, Poland, I don't know what it is. Poland have some great individuals. I would say some of the best individuals in that group, but they don't do well as a team, and just because of that, I think Spain are almost reassured they'll make it through to the next stage. Spain actually have a lot of pressure to win their games now. I actually don't think Spain stand any chance of winning Euro 2021. I know there's a lot of Spanish fans out there, don't get me wrong, I absolutely love this team, but even Enrique as the manager said that they're amongst 7 favourites to win Euro 2021. At that stage, you have to think to yourself, you're not a favorite. If you have to consider yourself in the top 7, you're not a favorite. How many favorites can you have? Surely you only get 3 or 4 favorites to win a competition. Surely if you say, oh, but we nudge into the top 7, I mean, you're a good team, but you're not a favorite. I don't understand that logic whatsoever. As I said, there were elements of the Spanish team that were brilliant. Their passing, their tiki-taka, style of play Spain have always been known and loved to use. But did they utilize it? At the end of the day, it doesn't matter. You can have 99% possession, but if you don't win the game, it means absolutely nothing. 0%. I don't know. I don't think Luis Enrique is really the man to take Spain forward, to be honest with you. There's a lot of pressure on this team, obviously not doing well in multiple recent international tournaments, and it would be interesting to see who would do well with this team. Obviously, there's no talks about them sacking Enrique. I would love to see a manager, obviously also Spanish, like a Pep Guardiola. Maybe that could be the next chapter in Guardiola's career, although I think he likes that week in, week out football, but I think he could be a man to really change it. It's a very tricky scenario because as an international manager, you can't just bring in brilliant players. You can't just buy brilliant players if they don't represent your nationality, which is why I think Spain did get quite lucky with the likes of Laporte. But at the end of the day, I'm actually not pleased with Spain. I think they would have done a better job if they put their under-21s forward. I think the likes of someone like Ferran Torres was brilliant. Once again, a player who was subbed off. I would have had more, confidence with the Spanish team if you played Ferran Torres as a striker as opposed to Morata. Morata's 28 years old. If he's not a world-class striker by this point, I'm not sure he's ever going to be. Look, he's a good striker, but he's got a reputation for missing the goal, missing obvious chances, and at that point you have to ask yourself questions of, do I actually put him in the squad? As I said, I think the under-21 Spanish team would have had better luck versus Sweden. I think Pedri looked absolutely amazing from Barcelona. He really, obviously the youngest player to ever represent Spain at the Euros. I think he looked really, really promising. Once again, just some odd decisions were made in this team. I think they're brilliant individuals. It is a good enough team individually to do well at the Euros, but the way they were set up, I disagree with harshly. I think defensively, as I said, solid, but everything else, it's just a bit of a mess. Luis Enrique has to just really... It sounds weird because obviously in my previous video I spoke about England and Gareth Southgate being more experimental. To be honest, I think Enrique has to be less experimental with Spain. I think he should just say, you know what, these players are doing well, let's play these players. Don't do anything fancy and you'll do well. That's my opinion on the matter. But guys, this has been fun. I hope that you have enjoyed this video. Sorry, it is absolutely all over the place. I just wanted to get my opinion out there about Spain. Obviously, if you enjoyed this content and you want to see more of it in the future, make sure to hit the subscribe button down below. But please do not be like Morata, otherwise you'll flip and miss the entire button. In fact, you'll probably end up missing your phone, tablet, laptop, whatever you are using. But make sure that you do subscribe. Please do hit the like button down below if you did enjoy it. Could we please get this video to 15 likes? This has been Finn, FY. Guys, have a good one and enjoy the Euros. Cheers.
I was right by your side, you manipulator, playing games, your friends commentators, and I don't know what you say about our private conversations, but it's got them hating. Thanks to all the rumors you be claiming. It's cool, I'm done with you, so they can throw you a celebration. You gon' hate it when you see me with somebody living better. I'm trying to tell you that me just doing me gon' have you jealous.